Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to Network Kings. So today we are starting with the F5 LTM load balancer, and Nishant is the instructor for this. So Nishant, over to you. You can share your screen and you can start with the session. And the batch which we are starting from today, it's Saturday, Sunday weekend batch, and the timing is 8 p.m. to 10:30, whatever the time is suitable for you guys. Accordingly, we can go ahead. Yeah, Nishant, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. So, hi everyone, and very good evening to all, and welcome to Network Kings. And so, today we are going to start our course F5 LTM, and same as mentioned by Networks guys. So, I will be instructor for this course. And before we start, I'm expecting you guys that you have a very good understanding about network devices and the network protocols. You must have knowledge about VLANs, OSI layer, and what are the different stages in OSI layers, and of course TCP and UDP. So before we start, let me tell you about myself. So I am Nishant, and I'm working on F5 products from last 8 years. So that's all about myself. And let's have a quick view what we will discuss and cover in this particular course. Okay. I hope I'm audible to you guys, right? Guys, yes or no? Am
Yeah,
I
you are
audible?
audible,
Yes,
Nishant.
yes, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so let me share my screen. So in this course, we'll cover about F5, what is F5 and why do we require for it. So we also cover what are the different product and how we can install in your environment. We have physical devices, we have virtual devices, and as well we can implement our F5 over the cloud as well. We have different modules in F5 and what are the different function of these modules. Like we have F5, LTM, GTM, ASM, APM. But in this course, we'll cover about LTM. But yes, we do have an understanding about all different modules, and we'll discuss about the F5 architecture. So how the F5 works and what is the different stages of it and how the traffic pass between client to the servers. So we will check all these details in this course, and how we can start our F5. So before in the initial time, how you can connect your F5 through serial cable or the management cable. So Patil, it would be great if you can switch off your camera, Patil, Panduranga Patil. Yeah, thank you. And yes, we do have different types of deployment method. So we'll discuss each and everything, how you can deploy your F5. So basically, if we discuss, so we have two different modules where we can deploy your F5. One is one arm mode and second one is two arm mode. So we'll discuss both the things, how you can deploy your F5, and setup utility. So like how you can install your licensing, you can configure your VLANs, and how you can put your management IP over there, and how you can set the passwords. So each and everything we'll discuss in this course. And of course the traffic flow, how the traffic is flow between client to the servers, and like what are the different stages it passed when it hit to the load balancer. And backup and storage. So how you can take the backup file of your F5 device, and how you can restore your device again. So if you have a proper backup, how can you can restore your F5 device? So we'll cover in this course. And there are some we can say functions in F5. So we called as a node, we called as a pool, and the virtual IP VIP we call. So how you can configure those particular things in your F5. And yes, we do have some different types of load balancing method. So how the traffic is being load balanced across the different servers, and how F5 will take an intelligent decision while passing the traffic to the backend servers. So we'll discuss this thing as well. And priority group activation. So priority group activation is a term basically where we use to do your servers in primary and the secondary mode, and how the traffic is being forwarded to individual servers. And of course the health monitor. So health monitor is nothing but it is to check your backend servers health. So there are different types of health monitor as well. So we will discuss each and every term here. And the next is profiles. So profiles, we have a couple of types of profiles we have in F5. So we will discuss one by each profiles, and what are the basically advantage of using those profiles. So if I tell you about F5 profiles, so profile are basically used to manipulate the customer traffic, like how you want to, or the client want to send the traffic to the different load backend servers. So we'll discuss this thing as well. And there are some different terms we call as a secure net, automap, and what are the advantage and why we use these terms in load balancer. So we'll discuss each and everything here. And IAP. So IAP is a module, we can say that how you can create your virtual server pool in one go. So we'll understand this as well. And iRules. So iRules is basically used to basically it's a script. So you will see how you use those scripts to manipulate the customer traffic. So we'll create those scripts and see the differences without iRules and with the iRules. So we'll check these things as well. And HA is high availability. So basically we'll use HA for the redundancy purpose. If one device goes down, so the traffic being redirect to the other device, so that there will be no outage or no impact for the customer traffic. So we have a lab for it, and we'll understand each and everything. And the last, how you can do the troubleshooting, and how you can see the logs on F5, and what are the 𝐊𝐭𝐤 files and the TCP dump. So you will see each and everything, what is a 𝐊𝐭𝐤 file and what are the TCP dump and why we use for it. And the last, yes, we'll provide some kind of interview questions, and we'll try to give you guidance how you can crack the interview while you taking the interview for the F5. So all things will covered in this chapter. And as I discussed earlier, this course is only for F5 LTM. LTM is basically a local traffic manager. So how the traffic can be redirect within a data center to the different backend servers. So this is the course content, whatever we covered in this course. All right. So before we go ahead, let's see the labs what we have. So this is the lab, what we have for you guys, and with this we'll study each and everything here. So this is your big IP F5, where this is your basically a computer where two interfaces are connected. One is for management and other one is for external, and there are three to four backend servers here, and this link is used for external traffic that goes on the internet. So this is one setup what we have, and we'll do each and everything, whatever the topics we have covered in the content. So we'll implement each and everything here on our lab. So we will cover all the things here. And second lab we have for yeah. So this lab is for high availability. So HA part will cover in this part. So once this device goes down, so how the traffic is being redirect to the second device, and the like this is your customer for this lab environment, and this customer traffic will pass from this device if that goes down. So we'll do each and everything in this lab, right guys? All good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is kind of setup we have, and obviously you guys have access for this lab as well, and everyone has some individual credentials to use your lab. So you can try by yourself and do whatever you want on this particular lab. All right. So before let's start with our first topic. So
sir, I have a small question.
yeah.
It's a basically, as I am new on this big IP load balancer, the vendor is L5. So basically, just I want to know that as we are doing the training of this particular only this subject. So in prospect of interview, so when I is the interviewer basically they they select candidate for L5, or they need any other add-on, apart from network, any other thing in a particular subject they need at the time interview.
All right. Yeah. So to be very specific to you.
Yeah,
So this
because thing is that if I go for this kind of interview, so how they will be taking me for the project or company. So if I go for this interview, then they will select for me this project for this on behalf of this subject, or they need any other many professional certificates or something like that while interview.
no, someone. So the thing is, when you will attend any kind of interview, so that will purely specific to network. Sorry, it's for F5. So F5 is mostly used in the organization for only for load balancing. And if you talk about a single miner project, so all they will use a load balancing. Without it, network, you cannot set the network. We can see like you have a different vendor load balancer, but definitely they have.
Okay.
But the concept will be same, and if you check on some blogs like where we can use F5 and all, so you will get a better understanding of it. And like if I have 8 years of experience about this F5 products, and I know that F5 is mostly used in all the organizations. I have
how is the scope of F5 or big IP load balancers scope?
So if like what do you mean by scope? Are you checking the number of jobs or the kind of packages?
Number of job, actually in prospect of number of jobs. Yes.
So if you check the network job profiles, so there must be FI requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, if
So,
you check the job description on naukri.com and you check the network engineer job, so you will see a big column for load balancing, required FI load balancer.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Got my point?
Yes. Thank you.
So if generally take a typical network job, okay, so so if I talk about a typical network engineer job, so you must know about routers, you must know about switches, you must know about load balancer. But yes, like being a F5, I'm specifically working on F5 products only. I'm not using any load balance, routers. I'm not using any switches. I'm specific to the load balancers for F5, whether this is for different module like LTM, GTM, ASM, APM. But yes, I'm working as a purely an F5 consultant in one of the organizations. But yes, but the if you get the number of jobs, so there are thousands of number of job for load balancer.
Also specifically for load balancer.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's discuss what is F5 and why we require for it. So F5, we generally says that it is a load balancer, but that is not 100% correct. It is not a load balancer. It is a ADC, that is application delivery controller. And what do you understand by application delivery controller? So application delivery controller is basically receive your request on layer 7. If I talk about the OSI layer, so OSI has different layers like physical link, network, transport, session, and representation and the application. So it receive your request on application layer, top of the layer, where you can open the packet. FI can read your packet and take a decision on it. So it receive your request on layer 7 and ensure a smooth delivery of your request. Smooth delivery means that if client has tried to open any request, so it should open until and unless all the services on the backend servers are down. So there will be no chance. But if any of the application has different servers, so how the traffic is being load balanced to the across the different servers. If one is not responding, it will send to the second is not, it will send to the third. So it ensures a smooth delivery. Even if your backend servers are down, it can manage the client request towards the next available server, so that client can access your application, his applications. All right, so let's take a simple scenario here. Let's take a journal scenario, how your request is being redirect from one to another levels. All right, so this is your general scenario. Like if any user want to access any of any application like abc.com. abc.com. So request firstly go to the local DNS. So local DNS will send those requests to the GTM. So GTM is another module what we I have mentioned. So it has a different modules F5. So it is GTM. GTM is called as the global traffic manager. It manages the traffic on the global scale level. And of course, I've made those two GTMs for the high availability for the redundancy purpose. If that goes down, so that traffic can goes to the second one. And you have three different data centers. And suppose this request is coming from you can say US, so it will go to the US. So that is part of GTM. So we will not discuss this part here. But suppose this request is going on this DC, and where this is hosted here, and they have three backend servers. All right. So if the request will go to the this backend server, if this goes down, suppose that server goes down, so that it will check on this, it will send to the second backend servers. If that data center goes down, the request will go to the different data center. So that is basically availability. It is application delivery controller, that your request is being delivered by the load balancer. And that is the biggest advantage of having these F5 load balancer. So in earlier days, what happened when we don't have any load balancer? Suppose this is your client and this is your server, and ABC is hosting here. So if and we do have a multiple server for these applications, and this is the other, another connectivity here. So if that goes down and request is going towards this particular server, so if that goes down, obviously user will see that page cannot be displayed or the application will not work. But when F5 developed or the load balancer developed, load balancer will automatically check the connections. If that is down, it will not send request to this server. It will automatically send this server request to the next available server. So it is delivering the application. That is why it is called as an application delivery controller. Hope you guys got this point. All right. So now let's understand why F5. Now we check all the terms like application delivery controller, but there are many advantage of having F5 in our environment, especially for the live environment. So let's discuss one by one. So one is intelligent load balancing. Obviously, we will see each and everything on the live lab environment. So today is the first class. So I'm just giving you what are the advantages and why do we require F5. So obviously we cover each and everything on the lab. So we do have lab. So we'll cover each and everything over there as well. All right. So this is suppose user is trying to access application is abc.com, and all these servers is the one where the application is hosted. abc.com, abc.com. All right. So first advantage is intelligent load balancing. So how it will do the load balancing? Whenever any user will try to access this application abc.com, it will send to the server 1. Then again a new request come, it will send to server 2. Or the next request will come, it will send to server 3. So how intelligently it will redirecting the application or the request to the different servers, so that one server cannot take much load. So all the server can be fully utilized, and there will be no such burden only on the single server. It will send the request to the backend server on that particular way. And there are some mechanism going on between F5 and the backend servers that we called as a health monitor. Health monitor, it will check the health of the server, so that if that one server goes down, the request will not come to this particular server, as it's all F5 is already aware that this server is not active or not live. So I cannot send the request to this server. So whenever any request will come to F5, F5 will send those requests to the available server. It will check the availability, who servers are open and ready to take the connections. So it will check and monitor the server health as well. That is why it is do a intelligence load balancing. All right. Second advantage is having capability to redirect the customer traffic based on the customer requirement. What do you want that based on the customer requirement? So there are some, we can say, functionality within the different servers. We can utilize this as a customer through F5. What it means? If this is your application, abc.com. Now the client wants that if my application abc.com/URI, if I try to open this request, open this URL abc.com/URI, it should go to server 1 and server 2 only. If I put abc.com/URI, it should not go to server 3 or anything /abc or / we can say admin, abc.com/admin. User want that only admin page is configured on server 1 and server 2. I don't want the request should be go to server 3. Through F5, we can achieve this as well. And we can do like that. If abc.com/admin come from the user, it should go to server 1 only. If user want abc.com/default, it should go on server 3. And apart from it, if anything, abc.com/home or /URI, anything come, it should go on server 2. That we can achieve through load balancer. This cannot be achieved when the application is directly hosted on the server. If this is your user and these are your backend servers, and there is no load balancer between client and the server, it is a direct connection. So you cannot achieve this. But whenever you have a F5 in between client and the servers, you can achieve, right? So this is also an advantage to have a F5 in your environment. And as I'm mentioning again and again, we will do each and everything over the lab, as this is our first lab. So we will set up our lab from a scratch level, how you will build your F5 from the starting. So we will do and we'll start this process from tomorrow onwards. So this is today's class is only to give you a introduction about F5 and why we require this device in our environment. So today is only give you a brief introduction about it. All right.
Sorry for interrupting, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, in real scenario where F5 I mean really exists, I mean after a router, or where we can see this F5 in real scenario.
So sorry, what's your name?
Sandhya.
Okay, Sandhya. So Sandhya definitely will come on this scenario after I guess second class. We will see the different deployment method of F5 and where you want to deploy your F5 in the live scenarios.
Okay,
because
good.
we have a different deployment methods. So we will cover this thing as well in when we will reach on that particular point.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. The number third advantage is securing your connections. All right. So how you can secure your connections? Suppose you have a DDoS attack. So F5 can secure and check the connections if there is such attack on the F5 or not. it can secure it. And we do have a few profiles where we will see how you can secure your connections. If I take a simple example of securing your connections, so there will be different routers, switches in between user to F5 and F5 to backend servers, right? They can be, it's a live environment, so anything can be anywhere. All right, so how the traffic is being secured from user to F5 and from F5 to the backend servers? So maybe you guys heard about SSL handshake, as you are from a network background, so you must have a knowledge about it. Any guesses? Yes or no, guys? All right, I'll take it as a no. So SSL handshake is basically a procedure. And if I check, so let me see if I believe I have a slide, because because last time students also asked for that. So this is basically a SSL handshake is a negotiation. So negotiation in between F user to F5 and F5 to backend servers. They share some parameters to each other, user to F5, F5 to backend servers, and they create some kind of key, so that if anything sent by the user can only open by F5, and if F5 will send something, that can be opened by user. Same happened in this case as well. When F5 sends something secretly to backend servers, backend will be able to open that request. So they have some keys. So SSL handshake is basically a process of exchanging the parameters and to secure the connection. That is called SSL encryption. SSL encryption and decryption. All right. So whenever the traffic is sent by the user to F5, so in between, no hackers can steal your data or the customer data. They mutually create a key that if anything sent by the user can only open with the key what F5 have, that do not have any other key, because they exchange some parameter that have a value of F5 and that parameter the value of user, right? And same happened with the backend servers as well. They will exchange some keys or the parameters to encrypt the data, so the no hackers can take or steal your data. And there are called as a encryption and decryption. Packet is being encrypted, is being secured till F5. F5 will decrypt it. It will do in a plain text way. And again, F5 will encrypt that data till backend servers. And backend server will decrypt that data. Encryption and decryption. Encryption and decryption. Again, when the traffic is being sent back from the server to F5, again, it will be encrypted. It will decrypt by the F5 and F5 will again encrypt and send to the user. User will open and decrypt and open the packet. This is also called encryption and decryption. So let's check some messages in the checkbox. So please, no personal chat should be on this lecture. You can discuss this thing later on. All right. If you guys have some inquiry or the doubts, you can speak or you can paste in the chat window, so that I'll read your queries and try to resolve as soon as possible. Thank you. So anything till here, guys? Any doubt?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, why have to go for F5 load balancer? Any other vendor apart from F5 can handle? What are the different vendors are there in for load balancers?
That is a very good question, actually. So, Rajan, right?
Yes, it's difficult to pronounce. You just call me Tyagi. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Rajan, that is a very good question. Why F5? What F5 have that why the other vendors load balancer don't, right? So
Yes.
first I must say that it can be available in all three basically modules. You have physically available, you have virtually be installed. If I talk about physically, so there are F5 devices, so you can physically install those devices. And virtually, if you guys are aware about ESXi, yes, ESXi. So ESXi are nothing but these are the virtualization layer provided by the VMware, where you can install this your F5, and this is also a cloud, so it support all three clouds. Basically, three big name are AWS, Microsoft Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So, but yes, this can be available on different vendor as well. The biggest point of F5 is iRule. iRule is nothing but it is a script. You can write the script and you can post in F5. And based on your script, it can take the decision whatever you want to do in F5. And as I mentioned, It is a layer 7 protocol. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is your application. This is your presentation. This is your session layer. This is your transport layer. This is your network layer. This is your data link layer. This is your physical layer. All right. So F5 can read your data or the client data, not only the till transport layer. It can read your data up to application layer. So whatever being sent from the client to the backend server, it can read and understand. So it can check the layer 7, like the cookie things, it can read and take the decisions. As you know, there are some protocols like HTTP, FTP, SMTP. So all these protocols can be read and understand by F5 through this script called 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐠𝐬, that no other vendors have this capability. If I take an example, I worked on Citrix product. Citrix load balancer is called as a what is mean? NetScaler. This is Citrix product. NetScaler load balancer. I worked on this load balancer as well. VMware load balancer called as a AVI load balancer. And of course F5. It's named with the same one, F5 load balancer. I worked on 3 vendors load balancer, and from the starting of my career, I'm working on on load balancer part only, where I have worked on Citrix, AVI, and the F5. But whatever the capability has F5, no other 2 vendors have. It has a very good things about 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐠𝐬. So in my earliest session, I was discussing about how you can, redirect the traffic based on abc.com/home or abc.com/URI or abc.com/default. You can send those different URIs. The traffic can be redirected to 3 different servers based on the URI what you have set. You can achieve this through policies as well. But there are few circumstances which you cannot get through GUI mode or the CLI mode. It can go beyond its level and achieve through whatever you want. That is the biggest advantage, and that is the strongest point in F5 what other vendors don't have, called as a I rule. So Rajan, this is the answer for your query. Why
Yeah, I got
F5?
Yeah, I got it here. Thanks.
Yeah, and trust me, I've worked on different products, different vendors load balancers. That capability that other don't load balancer don't have.
Okay, that is great.
Yes. Let's check some questions. Okay. How web application servers can F5 handles? So Bharat, definitely we will come on this point as well on the later lectures. So today is the first class. So whatever we have discussed here, we can discuss. And if you have any query, so definitely this will cover this session as well on the later on. But for today's session, if you have any query, so we'll discuss. Do F5 can handle abc.com 3 number of servers, also def.com? Do if F5 can handle multiple web applications? So what's his name? Okay, Bharat. Yes, Bharat, you can deploy as much as application you want. So I have given this example only for one application. There are some other application. Suppose 𝐊𝐲𝐬.com. Or we can say abcd.com. All right, google.com. This is just for example. youtube.com. You can deploy as much as application you want on F5. As we have a different servers for these different applications, so there must be 3 other servers. So there is no such limitations how number, like whatever the number of application we can deploy over F5. So F5 is basically a mediator from client to server. So actually application is hosted on the backend servers. It is just managing the customer traffic so that client cannot face any issue while accessing his applications. All right. Any questions now? All right. All right. Now let's discuss about next advantage. So we lost our point. So we'll if anyone has any query, we will cover in the later time. So let's discuss the next advantage. Increase capability or the capacity. So if you guys are from network perspective, so there must have 4 values. Source IP, let's or the destination, sorry, source port, destination IP and destination port. So do not understand about this point. So suppose you want to send a packet from, let's say, Punjab, and you want to send that packet to Uttar Pradesh, all right, UP. So what are the mandatory terms required to deliver the packet from Punjab to UP? First is from which address you are sending this traffic, right? And what is the pin code, right? There are two terms. Same like where you want to deliver, exact address. What is the address? Like house number, this, and of course the pin code. Then only your traffic will, your packet will be delivered, right? If anything is missing, the packet will not be dropped. House number 44, there are like thousands of house number 44, and there will be some duplicacy in a village or the colony or the city as well, right? But when you have pin code, there are some specific pin code is given to some areas. So in pin code there will be no duplicacy, right? Save in the network side as well. Source IP is from where or which address you are sending the traffic. And what is the port number? Same like destination IP, on which address you want to send your traffic, and obviously port number. All right. Now, if as I mentioned earlier, you guys are from the network background, so you guys are aware that there are some specific number of ports. If I'm not wrong, these are the some specific number of ports, 65535. And in those ports, so there are some reserve ports as well. So if let's suppose there are 64,000 free ports, so source port is 64, destination port will be some specific port like HTTP. For HTTP we have port number 80, for HTTPS we have port number 443. So while taking the session, you must require a source port, and you have only 64,000 of ports are available for one time. Now, at one time, suppose Suppose this is your application. Like we have a big application name is American Express. All right, American Express. These are the American Express backend servers. At one time, this is globally application. At one time, more than 64,000 users try to open that request. All right, till 64,000, there is no issue. But whenever a 64,001 first user will come, it will not get a vacant port to take your connection to the backend server. So his traffic will be dropped in the normal scenario. It will not reach to the backend server because there are some specific port. But what F5 will do, F5 will usually create two connections. One is between user to F5 and second is F5 to the backend servers. So it will send with the new IP. So for that particular IP, there are again 64,000 connections are available. For doing this, there are more number of users can try to access his application without any fail. That is also one advantage to have a F5 in your environment. Same like reliability of the application. Reliability means the application will be reliable on backend servers. User can easily access this application. If this server goes down, application will be available on two different servers. So user can take connection, go to server 2 or server 3. There will be no such loss for the client. The application will always be available for the users. F5 can support multiple HTTP protocol. You guys are not aware that HTTP has multiple protocol. One is HTTP 1.1 and second one is HTTP 2.0. So F5 can support both HTTP protocol. Either his user is having HTTP 1.1 or HTTP 2. It will have both. Basically, it supports both the HTTP protocol. Third one is, and the last advantage is authenticate the user. F5 always asks user to authenticate. So if a authenticated user can try to access his application. So if any other user or the unsupported users cannot access his application, it has some different allowed subnets or the IP we have. So no other user can access other users' applications. So this is also an advantage to have F5 in your environment. So these are the advantages of F5. So with a single device, you have multiple advantage. So that is why F5 is must required device in your application, in your environment. All right. So this is the one thing we covered today. So all the contents what we have here, products line, modules, architecture, starting, deployment, utility, traffic flow, each and everything will be covered in this lecture. So I think we are good for today. Do you guys have any issue till here? So today is just for the introduction class for you guys. And just for your information, guys, so we do have a specific PPT for your course content, and obviously you will get much more details and the depth about this course, whatever we haven't mentioned here, but you guys will get it. And I hope after completing this course you have a very good understanding about F5. So that's all from my side for today's class. Let's see if anyone has any doubt. What is the latest model? So that depends actually what modules you are using. Either you are using hardware or virtual or the cloud. So everything is, get updated time by time. Our duration would be, I must say, 22 to 25 hours. So Soman will discuss this thing. Actually, we cannot replace a firewall because firewall has a different authority, and it is basically used to the gateway where only the allowed user can access or the enter in your environment. So we cannot replace firewall F5 with that. So there are some different functionality and properties, and all two devices has their different functions, right? Anyone? Last 2 minutes for you guys, if anyone has any doubt. All right.
Yeah, thanks, Nishant. So guys, from tomorrow, the same time around 8, we are going to start the class, and Saturday, Sunday is the timing for this batch. Okay.
Sure, sir. Yeah, thank you. Is
Thanks,
it for
thanks.
1 hour class or 2 hours class?
2 hours.
Okay, so this is introduction class since okay.
Yes. From tomorrow, there is a proper class, and you'll get the lab credential. Everybody get on the email, and you can access, and we can do the practical from tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Thanks,
you.
Thanks, Nishant. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nishan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Good day. Bye.